Welcome back, my Blender Bros. So we're going to get a rope this time, and I'm going to wrap that around this to sort of tie it on. So I'm going to jump onto a separate layer, which I do down here. Shift C just to make sure it's centered, and I am. Cylinder. 12's good. Make sure everything else is good. Yeah, that's all good. Right, so now I want to pull it in this mode. One to the left, rotate it so that it lines up there, and then I'm going to select this piece and I'm going to just extend that out by 2 and then extend this out by 2 again, and then I need to select a line, so let's go with this one. No, let's go with this one, mark it, unwrap it, and then if I check in here in the UV image editor, if I had already got rid of these faces because I don't need those, and then unwrap it. There we go. Ideal. Now, from this, I need to go for an array. Notice now I can just extend it out as much as I like, but I don't want to yet. I'm quickly going to go rope. Put in a shader, principled shader, the best shader. If you don't use a principled shader, I would highly recommend you do. It's just there isn't anything wrong with the principled shader. It's perfect, beautiful, and we love it. And I'm going to put the normal map in here as well. Vector normal map. Now let's have a look at our rope. Perfect. See, very simple. Obviously, I am going to also put on a multi-resolution and a displace. Can never find displace. Just that'll be a recurring film. You'll get used to it. Cool. Now I'm gonna smooth this as well, so it doesn't get those weird, rough-looking edges. And go onto my displace. New. Let's open up the rope, and I'm gonna open it and grab the displace from here. And then instantly it should look pretty weird. Yep, pretty weird. And change it to UV. Still kind of weird, but we'll get there. And I'm going to smack this subdivide button until it looks good. You see how it's going now? This is much, much nicer. I'm going to weaken it a bit until we get sort of a nice wrap around look. I think I'm going to put on another one. There we go. That looks like a rope. And if I extend it out, it should meet up. Oh, I don't like that at all. If I move this up one, okay, I do not like that, so we will fix that. I think the best way of fixing that will be to go into the UV image editor, select it. Yeah, so I want this to perfectly meet. Oh, crikey. I just messed that up. Z, there we go. What we're going to do now is I'm going to select all of it. I'm going to pull it to the right, and then I'm going to get scale. Oh, crikey. Right, first of all, solid. I'm going to go to options. I know we're going to put it on the constrain to image bounds. Brilliant. And then that is a little bit closer, but not quite still. So if I drop, oh, it'll have to be finer tuned than that. I'll make it snap to pixels. Where is it? Snap to pixels. There we go. See, that's now working a little better. And this side. Perfect. Okay, that looks good now. And now it meets up a little bit better, but still, it's not perfect, is it? Like, it could definitely look better than that. What's my best way of making that look less shockingly bad? Other than adding way more faces than I need. Yeah, that's way more faces than I need. I'm gonna go back to 5, I think. Delete higher. So this is all the way to the edge now, right? Yeah, it is. So that should... It is a wrappable image, I believe. Let's have a look. Yeah, it should be a wrappable image. That's a little bit frustrating. I can't move this one around. Oh, I can move this around. But then the displace modifier has nothing to work off of, so I don't want that. Really, definitely want... If I put this one up, I can put that one up. So UV, direction normal. I'm going to turn the strength down. Actually, I'm not sure what the issue actually is. If I go into rendered, does it look weird in rendered? No, that is completely seamless in rendered mode. Is that where the seam is? Yeah, that is exactly where the seam is. So yeah, if you have a look there, you can see it's just it looks a little bit weird in this mode is all. Which means that is absolutely fine. Banging. Okay, so next up, I can now get rid of that. Don't need that at all. I don't want this on fixed count. I want this on fit length. Nope, fit curve. I also want to add a curve. So let's go mesh. And we'll go for a... Where's curve? Oh, it's not embedded on a curve. A path. We'll go nubs path. I'm going to change this to 3D cursor, scale it up until it's about the same length, and then I should be able to just pull this out now, and it should. There we go. But I'm actually going to try, if I get rid of that, add curve, we'll make it a bezier, pull this one down, bounding dot center, put it down, pull that along until it's matching back up again. Back to 3D cursor scaling, bring it out. So it's going from one end to the other. And it isn't quite going from one end to the other, so I want it to go like that to that. Okay. Now make this fit to the Bezier curve. I also want to add a curve modifier. Start closing some of these down so I'm not in the way. Bezier curve. Now, hypothetically, should be able to move this around almost completely at will. And if I look at this now in this mode, just have a look to see what it looks like a rope. And just to show you what I mean, but I believe you could also do this with a path, and it should work fine with a path. Let's have a look, we'll find out. Nubs path, array, nubs path. Yeah, it does work fine. Okay, next up, obviously I want to go back into object mode, and bring in this item. As you can see, a little bit bigger than we wanted. Okay, so this displays now way too strong. So we probably want it to be about that thick. Apply the rotation scale, and again, this place is going to be way too strong. Probably 0.001. A little bit stronger, 0.03. A little bit weaker, 0.02. That's about right. And currently it's a bit long as well. So what we'll do is select it, go to edit mode, and we'll just bring this down. Oh, it's going to struggle, but I can delete vertices and that should work. Yeah. And then how many more vertices are there? Perfect. OS to scale. I'm going to bring it in a bit. And what I'm going to do now is actually I'm going to go into object mode and quickly turn off this multi-resolution, because it's quite intensive to have a multi-resolution running when you're doing this sort of thing. So now I want this piece here to come down to about there. Yeah, about there. And then this piece come down like this. And all I'm going to do here is just sort of extend it round and sort of get everything flowing about around it. And if I quickly jump back into object mode and apply this multi-resolution again, you'll notice it does look normal. Even oh yeah, not quite. This is why I wanted to use a Bezier curve. To be fair, I might swap over. Okay, let's displace. Let's get rid of this NURBS path. Back onto this one. Get rid of this curve. And I'm going to add a Bezier. Bezier allows you to have a much more, it's not so much control, but just a much cleaner looking thing. So I want this piece here to line up with the end there. And then fit to the Bezier curve on the that one. Wait, that's the array? I need to re-put the curve in. And fit to the Bezier curve on this one too. That's better. And pull this down here. Yeah, with a Bezier curve, you can slightly better curve things around, which is much, much nicer. Down here, start bringing it around like this. trying to sort of keep it nice and clean. It doesn't matter if it intersects a little; it will look nicer if it does, because otherwise it will start to look a little bit like slightly hard to explain, but kind of weirdly floating off of it if you don't have it doing that a little. Now you don't want to put these too close apart or it'll start to look weird. Again, I'm going to go into object mode and disable this multi-res. And try and select this Bezier cut. There we go. Yeah, the Bezier curves allows you to control the curve a lot more. It's so much nicer. I think you kind of get the idea of how this is going to go now. I want it to be quite a neat circle going around. And I want it to bump out on one side. So I'm going to cut, actually I'll do that later on. When I'm doing the sort of final fitting is when I'll do that. And then I'll bring this in a bit. I'm going to switch this back to bounding box center because I like that more. Let's bring this around. Just want to sort of maintain the curve going around without making it too messy. I just want it to sort of loop. Oh, and not come too far away from the mesh. So I've realized from some of my other videos that I go into a croak mode a lot, or I sort of just start going like that and then talking like that, and that's it. It's a bad habit, so I'm going to try to get out of it. So anytime I do that, feel free to chastise me. And that is the word of me. You have permission to yell at me as much as you like every time I do that. In fact, please do, because I don't get many comments, so I would genuinely like to see a comment, even if it's having a go at me. I would rather have hate. What have I done here? Oh, I see. This one is too high. I was genuinely confused for a second there. Just curling it round. And trying to make it nice and neat. But I don't want it to be perfectly neat, because then it will look weird. So it's finding the balance, but that's why you want to do it by hand and not do any sort of arrays or anything like that, because you want it to have imperfections for something like this. And yeah, it's almost done. I'm just gonna a little bit more, I think, and then we'll work on making it come back up to tie it. The video is not too long, so might be able to tie it up in this one, but I don't want to bore you too much, even if there aren't really anyone watching. It doesn't mean I want to bore the ones that I do. Okay, so that's basically done there. Now I want to decide which side I want to tie it. So if I go back into object mode, as you can see, we've got that loop going around now, and it looks very sort of makeshift, which is what we're aiming for. If we quickly jump into render to view, yes, my computer will likely freeze while it's planning this, but there we go. So we've got this sort of rope tied up around. We'll add a more organic texture into that as well to make it look more grassy or leafy. What we might do is use a particle effect to put little bits of grass sort of sticking out, and we'll layer a grass texture over the top of the current texture, just to bring in more grass into it. We don't mind having a bit of brown because, well, generally, as you probably know, rope is made out of things like grass. Though we use things like cotton and yarn and stuff, but I mean those are a grass. But yeah, so what we'll do is have a quick look at this, quick look over. It looks relatively sort of tied up, which is good. You've got the rock underneath, and I like how this is looking. It's very, I'm gonna, actually wait, if I hit the multi-res on this quick, I want to see that this isn't perfectly straight, because it looks a bit weird if it'll be perfectly straight. I'll have a look quick when my computer starts freaking out. Yeah, this definitely doesn't fall under low poly, by the way, so if you were planning on making a video game and this was going to be a weapon in that, I apologize, this is not going to do that. However, you could use this to make a bump map and a ambient occlusion map, so you could use it for just baking the textures, and then you could use it on whatever you liked, really. In fact, I might do that. Just it would make a relatively good video as well, I suppose, on how to do it. But for now, that's that bit done. Do I tie it this video, or should I tie it in the next video? So I'm going to rename everything to make it easier. So I'm going to call this bit the tip, the shaft, the rope. We'll call this rope control. Solid. Alright, so I will probably end the video here. We're at the 22-minute mark. So next video we shall start cleaning this off. Quickly gonna remove some of these modifiers. Oh, so many faces everywhere. This apparently has a lot of faces. Oh, okay, I got the displace off. Oh yeah, that isn't very straight. That's not too bad. I might still add a little bit more kink into it, but it's not too bad at all. Anyway, right, next week we shall start. Let's move this up. We shall start sort of rolling this down and sort of closing it off, tying a knot. If you've got any knot suggestions, throw them in. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.